Good evening, everybody. I'm Lou Dobbs. Mr. Trump went to Washington, and Washington may never be quite the same. Donald Trump meeting with top Republican lawmakers, and by all accounts, he quickly won them over. Trump went to Washington with a clear message and a mandate for millions of voters and members of Congress hearing that message loud and clear. Trump received praise from fellow Republicans, including Speaker Paul Ryan.
Really kind of unparalleled. He has gotten more votes than any Republican primary nominee Mark Wright in the history of our country. And this isn't even over yet. He hasn't even gone to California yet. So it's really a remarkable achievement.
And joining us here tonight, Donald Trump's son, Eric. He is with us on how his father will help unite the Republican Party and bring victory in November. And more endorsements for Trump, including from former House Speaker John Boehner, who said, quote, "Anyone who thinks Donald Trump can't win, just watch." We'll take up Trump's path to the presidency with Ebony Williams, Chris Plant, and the chairman of the RNC, Reince Priebus, today also meeting with Trump. Priebus says Trump gets it.
Listen, I think Donald Trump gets it. I think he understands about being presidential and tone and tenor. I'm confident of that, and so I'm looking forward to moving forward next week and continuing this unification process.
And as you might guess, the real question is, does the Republican establishment get it? Lee Carter, Rich Lowry join us to talk about that and more. Will the National Review's Lowry himself get it and finally support Trump? You'll find out right here tonight. And Bernie Sanders says he's no zombie candidate as his new attacks on Hillary Clinton drive Democrats farther apart. Stuart Varney will be here to examine what that division means for the general election. Our top story tonight, the art of the deal and how to get the job done. That's exactly what we saw today with Donald Trump's highly anticipated meetings with Speaker Ryan, top Republican lawmakers in both the House and Senate. The two men met for 45 minutes, and afterwards, Speaker Ryan said they agreed on the big issues.
I was very encouraged with what I heard from Donald Trump today. I do believe that we are now planting the seeds to get ourselves unified, to bridge the gaps and differences.
And in an interview that will air tonight with Sean Hannity, Trump says Ryan is a man he can do business with.
I think he's doing a good job. He's got not an easy job, and I don't mind going through a little bit of a slow process. It's a very big subject. I mean, we have a lot of things, and I think for the most part we agree on a lot of different items, and we're getting there. I feel very strongly about border security. I feel very strongly about trade. I feel very strongly about building up the military, and to a large extent, I think Paul is there also.
Joining us now, the son of the presumptive Republican presidential nominee, Executive Vice President of Development and Acquisitions for the Trump Organization, Eric Trump. Eric, great to have you.
Great to be here, Lou. Great to be here.
Let's start with all that happened today in Washington. Mr. Trump goes to Washington. How does he feel he did? Is he pleased with the results?
Yeah, well, he's very pleased. I was talking to him actually. I was walking down today, and he's pleased. He's got to get to know these people, right? I mean, he's never walked the streets of Washington, D.C. He's never walked Capitol Hill. I mean, this just isn't his thing. I mean, he's a guy who's built an amazing real estate empire, and he's got to get to know these people. And I think he had a great conversation, he told me, with Paul Ryan today and a lot of other people. And listen, in time, he'll really get to know these people. They'll really get to like him. And, what he's done for the Republican Party is amazing. I mean, it's amazing. The amount of votes that he has and everything else, it's amazing. I mean, and I hope they all just jump on that bandwagon because he's a winner and he can win this thing.
He is a winner, and he is winning. As someone I like very much, respect very much, said, Donald Trump walked into a dark alley with 16 others and is the only one to emerge. So what is the secret of your father's success in an area in which he's never contested an election, run for an office?
Sure, probably being a person and not a robot. And I say that sincerely, but I mean, how many times, and I say this all the time, but how many times do you see these candidates up on stage and it's the same rehearsed statement over and over? You can tell they rehearsed it 400 times in front of a mirror and it just doesn't come off as sincere. And, he talks from the heart and he doesn't care and he doesn't tiptoe around issues and he speaks to issues. And some issues may be controversial and some people might like and some they won't like. And, there are a lot of the issues that people have dodged historically over time. But also they're the issues that have, cost this country tremendously. And he takes those issues head on. And he's really doing this for the American people. He doesn't need it. He's self-funding, and that really resonates with a lot of people.
the reason he's winning is because he's addressed those issues head on. He's talked about conservatism. The other day, he said something I thought was very important. I don't know whether it surprised you or not. He said it's not the Conservative Party. He said it's the Republican Party. And I think that needed to be articulated. Your father has this inherent ability to communicate what is required at the moment, whether it be initially dealing with illegal immigration, border security, free and fair international trade. 2015 just turned out to be the all-time record for deficits with China. So where does he get this knack?
Well, listen, he's been saying it forever. I mean, he's been talking about trade forever and how bad NAFTA was for this country and how bad TPP was for this country. If you look at manufacturing jobs, over the last since 2000, it's a straight line downward. I mean, we don't make anything anymore. We don't produce anything anymore. And then when I hear certain Republican leaders say, you have to come into our party, and then I look at my father, and he's got 10, 11, 12 million voters behind him. He has more enthusiasm than I've ever seen for any candidate. I mean, unprecedented enthusiasm against maybe the strongest Republican field ever. It's kind of like, it's actually maybe your party at this point. It's kind of the People's Party at this point. And it's really interesting to see that dichotomy. It's
interesting, Eric, to see the Republican Party now with more voters showing up than they know what to do with, in point of fact. The national apparatus, and I'm talking about primarily the Republican National Committee, some of the Capitol leadership, it's as if they don't know what to do with people coming into the party, growing the tent. And to see this resistance on the part, particularly Paul Ryan. I know everybody's happy and making nice, but as I watch Paul Ryan, I have to tell you, I'm incredulous. I've been covering presidents and national politics for, this will shock you, but longer than you've been around, about 40 years. And I've never seen anything like it. Motives that are inexplicable, decisions, choices that are being made that have nothing to do with the good of the party, nothing to do, it's bizarre.
Yeah. And listen, to me as a non-politician, it was a little bit shocking, too. I mean, that initial move without the endorsement was a little shocking. You look at Pennsylvania, right, especially the western half of the state, 180,000 Democrats and independents switched over the Republican Party just in the primary just to vote for my father. If you look at what happened in West Virginia the other day, where you had 40% of all Bernie Sanders supporters that said they wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton, rather, in the general election, they're going to vote for Donald Trump. I mean, you have hordes of people coming in, hordes and hordes of people coming in the primaries who are doing that. You should embrace it. You should grab these people. It's time for the Republican Party to grow. The Republican Party has been shrinking. Here's somebody who's grabbing onto a massive movement of people. And again, I just wish the party would get behind that. I mean, it'd be a smart thing to do. He's a winner. He knows how to win, and he's going to win this thing. And by the way, he'll work tirelessly to win it. He'll work harder than anybody.
That's one of the things that I've seen very few people even address. The fact is, your dad's a pretty smart fella. There's no doubt about that. He's a pretty innovative fellow, and he's a great communicator. But he works like hell. Nobody in this field of what was once 17 candidates, those other 16 didn't come close to working as hard as he did.
Lou, I'm on the road with him, right? And we'll go to 4 events in a day where he's speaking in front of 20,000 people. Literally 4 events, right? And then we'll hop on the plane, go to the next one. Another event, 20,000 people. You do it 4 times. I can't believe, and I've said this to him before, I can't believe you still have a voice, right? And then on the plane, he's talking to reporters, he's talking to this. I mean, he's always going. We're having fun together. I mean, he's got the energy level of a 30-year-old. It's amazing. The man does not stop.
Has he always had that, or is he energized by the battle?
No, he's
being in the arena.
Listen, he's certainly energized by the battle, but he's always been a guy who just works tirelessly at whatever he does. I mean, he's really amazing. I've called him actually the Energizer Bunny. I mean, the man just doesn't stop. And that's what we need as commander-in-chief. We need somebody who will work for the American people, who will work tirelessly for the American people. And, that's what the man will do. He doesn't know any different way, right? He just doesn't know any different way. That's what he's going to do.
Eric Trump, great to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to take your recommendation there as an objective voice, because I've often said, you can be objective. It doesn't mean you have to be neutral.
That's right.
And it's great to have you here.
Yeah,
Come
thank
back
you
soon.
very much, Lou. I absolutely will.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Trump. We're coming right back. Much more straight ahead. Stay with us. Donald Trump and House Speaker Paul Ryan coming together.
And it's very important that we don't fake unifying, we don't pretend unification, that we truly and actually unify so that we are full strength in the fall.
So when does Ryan come to his senses and officially endorse Trump? What's his deal? Ebony Williams and Chris Plant join us here next.